Kia ora everyone. Welcome to my YouTube channel of hiking and photography adventures in Aotearoa. While we're in lockdown and I can't go on the usual hiking adventures, I've been using my little Lego figurine Mia here to create miniature landscapes in my backyard. And I did a video last week that explained one of the processes I use to create those kind of photos. Now there's another exercise you can do with a little figurine like Mia which can help you improve your photography and improve your composition. And that's to introduce a little figurine like Mia into photos you might otherwise take, just to give them a little bit of extra interest and a little bit of a more interesting point of focus. Let me show you what I mean. So I've got myself set up here for a little shot of a lily pad in this pool. Now it's autumn in New Zealand and we've got some lovely orange and yellow fallen leaves sitting in this pond, and some of the lily pads are starting to go a nice yellow as well, so it's a really nice colours here. And we've got some drops of water from some rain sitting on top of the lily pads, and I've just got my macro lens here and I'm just shooting across at this lily pad here with it falling away into soft focus in front of and behind, and it's a lovely shot. So I'll show you what I mean, what we've got here, and then we'll introduce Mia and I'll show you how it can change the shot. So if I introduce Mia into the middle of this lily pond, you'll see what I mean about improving instantly my composition and just giving a little bit of interest. A little tricky to balance it. Okay, so now we've got Mia sitting on the pond, and not only does it add a lot more interest to the photograph, but we catch a reflection in the pool as well, so that just adds another little dimension to the photograph that otherwise wouldn't be there. Hey everyone, it's the next day and I've got our second composition for you. So I've got the camera set up with this lovely little sort of green mossy hillock here, and I have got, if I can find it because it keeps blowing away in the wind, got a lovely little yellow autumn fallen leaf, and that's just sitting in the bottom left corner of the frame and makes a nice little composition. I've got focus on the leaf because it's quite close to the camera. We're at f8, 11 mils, and I am shooting with a remote, and we're just doing a bracketed exposure, and this makes a nice enough little shot, the sort of still life kind of shot you might shoot in your backyard. So we'll take that. Not too bad, but we're obviously looking for something a little bit more interesting. We're looking to add a bit more interest and a bit more focus to our subject, and once again we're going to do that with our little figurine Mia, and we're also going to introduce Mia's little sheep because Mia is a little farming Lego girl. She has a sheep and she has a horse, so we're going to introduce the sheep. So let's take away the leaf. Let's introduce Mia into the shot, like so. So what I've done by putting Mia into the shot is I've put her in the bottom right corner, and I've got her facing away from the camera, looking into the frame. And what that does is your eye will immediately go to Mia, and then we'll follow Mia's eye line into the image. And that's a really clever way of leading your audience and your viewer into the picture, getting their eyes to go deeper into the frame. Now, the next thing we could do, deep in the background there's this little toadstool, so I'm just going to put Mia's little sheep just perched up on the toadstool, like that. Let's not think too much about how the sheep got there, but it did. And now what happens now is that your eye line goes to Mia, it goes into the frame, and then it finds our little sheep in the back of the shot, and then the eye line of the sheep is back towards Mia, so that captures the viewer's eye in the frame and brings it back in again. So basically what we're doing, we're using our subject here to guide the viewer's eye through the frame so that they spend more time looking at the image, and that's a really great thing you can do with subject. So once you're out shooting landscapes in the wider world, you can use a hiker or a walker to capture attention and direct the viewer's gaze. So we've got this image now. Once again, I'm going to use focus stacking because it is quite close to the camera again. So we'll just start with focus right down on the foreground, bracketed exposure, as I said, so getting a nice range of exposure there. And there you have it. So you've got a much more interesting image just by putting a little bit of subject in there that can really add a little bit of spice. So I've got one more image we want to do, so we'll move on to that next. Okay everyone, welcome to our final composition and the greenhouse. So far we've seen how you can introduce a subject to make a picture more interesting. We've shown how you can exchange a subject for an alternative subject which will direct the viewer's gaze a little better. This time we're going to show how you can use a secondary subject to guide the viewer's gaze and bring attention to your main subject, even when that subject is pretty small in frame. Okay, so we've got our composition here. I'm all set up, and basically what I've got this lovely tomato plant through here with some nice soft light coming in from the side and behind, and there's this one little tomato right here on the vine, and I'm looking to get a shot with this one beautiful bright red tomato in amongst these luscious green vines. Now I could just go in nice and close and just get a photo close-up of the tomato, but I really love the detail in the vines and the tiny little bristles as they're backlit, and if we go in too close on the tomato we miss a lot of that, so I'm aiming for all of that. So I've lined up a rough composition. This is without our secondary subject, so this is just the tomato. I'm nice and sharp on the tomato. I'm at 25mm, I'm at f8, got the tomato in the top left corner, and we're just going to simply take a photograph of that to start with. And it's not too bad a photo. Now what I want to do though is I want to just give us a little more interest. So we've got this tomato which is the subject, but it's right over in the top left corner and it's very small in frame, so it can get a little bit lost. So if we introduce Mia, and this is very much like the principle with the previous image, where we place Mia in the bottom right corner gazing into the frame, and that guides the viewer's gaze. The difference this time is that she's directing the gaze to a specific subject, which is our tomato. So we've got a little rock here on the right. I'm just going to place Mia on that rock like so, and then what that'll do is it'll direct our eye. Now just to add a little more interest to this image, I'm just going to add a little bit of foreground greens so that we can get some nice soft foreground and be shooting through that to give more of an impression of Mia being in the jungle. So we'll just place this in, and it's just a case of finding a spot where it looks good, and then we'll just clip it in position. I don't want it to cover the subject too much, but I'm not too worried if it does a little bit. But we just want to, somewhere maybe like that is good. So, just have to clip that like so. Okay, like that. Very good. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to adjust our focus initially, and we're going to focus on Mia right in at the foreground, and there you have it. It's as simple as that. So there you go, 3 quick examples where I've taken a photograph you might take in your backyard, and simply by injecting a slightly unusual subject into the image, we've created something that's just a little bit more interesting. This is a technique that you can apply to any sort of photography that you might do once the lockdown's finally over, whether that's still life photography, miniatures, street photography, or landscape photography. So get out there with your camera, try play around with some different and unusual subjects and see what you come up with. Take care everyone, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you again soon.